Hey, you may have heard that, or you may be asking yourself and wondering, are we in a housing bubble? Let me share a few things with you why we're not in a housing bubble. This time we have a lot of supply or a lot of demand for the houses, and we have very low inventory. You have to go back in the Charleston area, you have to go back to, November 2013 was the last time we were in a buyer's market. That's when you have more than 6 months of inventory. In Mount Pleasant, you have to go back to June 2012 to find a time when we had more than 6 months of inventory. Right now in Mount Pleasant, we have less than a month of inventory. So there's a very, very, very critically low number of houses for sale. That's what that means. Yet we have a large number of buyers out there, people wanting to buy a home. So the demand is real. Back in the early 2000s, 2005, 2006, when all this was going on, you had an abundance of housing. So that's the first big difference. And the demand that we had wasn't based in reality. It was very irrational. It's like people were just buying homes because they thought the market was going to keep on increasing. And what we've seen in 2020 was that the home values increased 10%, which is huge. That's a wonderful increase, and it's supposed to increase another 5% in 2021. But when the supply starts to catch up to the demand, then you'll see the houses begin to level out, and it's simple economics, supply and demand. The less supply, the more demand you have, then the higher the price, and vice versa. So supply is low, demand is high. Both of those are real. And the other thing was like back in 2005, 2006, anybody could get a mortgage. Banks and mortgage lenders were just giving away money. Now you can't just walk and talk. You have to prove that you've got income, that you've got the financial wherewithal to afford the home that you want to buy. And there's something called the mortgage credit availability index. The higher that number, the easier it is to get a mortgage. So back in 2005, 2006, that number was 848. And before the boom, it was 400. The index today is 122.5. Means it's ridiculously hard to get a mortgage. you have to jump through a lot of hoops in order to get a mortgage, because mortgage lenders don't want to have happen what happened again. What happened back then, they don't want that to happen again. So, and then the final thing is that back in 2005 and 2006, people were using their homes like an ATM. They were refinancing and getting cash out and eating up all their equity, which was not a smart move when the market's getting ready to crash. But now you have less than a third of the people refinancing and actually taking cash out. And most people have, the figure I read was like 56% of mortgages have more than 50% equity in their homes, which is great. That's wonderful news. So if you are finding yourself, if you're one of the unfortunate ones that, lost a job and you're wondering what your next steps are, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be glad to share some resources with you. There's plenty of options for you. And, we can, talk about those. So my name is Jane French. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. That's a mouthful. And my number is 843-813-3390. And you can reach me at yourcharlestonhomesold@gmail.com. All right. Y'all have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.